Hello again, everybody. Tech is here with my WWE review for this Monday, July 30th, 2018, from Miami, Florida. The World of SummerSlam is heating up tonight. We have a lot of things go down this evening. As you would see from the subtitle, we had the suspension lifting of the Rowdy one. And some interesting news concerning the Ronda Underwater SummerSlam, including something we thought we would never see. Something we thought would be safe for something like a pay-per-view, but hey, here's what we're going to see. Besides to appearance on pay-per-view. And of course, we got the appearance of the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. You can see what he would do. See the subtitle. Well, it may get some repercussions after his actions later on in the evening. Before we get to my thoughts on those events and some decent, we had like maybe one or two good matches, and like the rest of the show, especially I thought I kind of dragged into the main event segment. Let's address the deaths that happened on Sunday. We had a couple big wrestling deaths, two of them. There was another guy named Brickhouse. I don't know who he was, sorry. But the two big celebrity deaths of wrestling yesterday was Nikolai Volkov, died at the age of 70. The WWE Hall of Famer, inducted in 2005, was one was hated heels in the WWF in the early years during the Hogan era of the WWF, including most famously teaming up with the Iron Sheik, becoming one of the most hated tag teams, especially with their manager, Classy Freddie Blash, and with their heel-like actions, especially Nikolai Volkov's famous renditions of the Soviet national anthem. So, because remember that when I was like really little, when I started really getting wrestling, when I was like a little bitty baby, got into it from my parents. He was a big heel, although he was near towards retirement by the time I was born, because I was born in '88. He was teaming up with the Bolsheviks by then with Boris Karloff, and I was near the twilight of Nikolai's career, and he turned face with Hacksaw Jim Duggan in 1990. The feud against Salt and Slaughter before his retirement in 1995. He made one of the appearances, so he would be missed. And then, of course, a big figure from my big era of wrestling when I was like a teenager was the Attitude Era. And one of the big characters of the Attitude Era, Brian Christopher Lawler, better known as Grandmaster Sexay from Too Cool, tragically passed away Sunday as well at the age of 46 of a hanging when he was in jail being arrested for DUI last week. He was being held up after that. He had dealt with some drug problems in the past, and sadly they caught up to him. He first came to the scene as one half of Too Much with Scott Taylor, who ended up being Scotty Too Hottie. And Too Cool is one of my favorite tag teams, the Attitude Era. They're colorful characters, decent workers in the ring, and have colorful personalities, especially teaming up with Ishii, for one of the most entertaining trios in the WWF, with a combination of Ishii's dancing, Scotty's dancing, and hard-hitting moves, especially the Worm, and of course the high-flying antics of Grandmaster Sexay, made them WWF Tag Team Champions in 2000, winning it up from Joe C. from Kid Rock's band. So, I love like New Age Outlaws, that's a Christian APA, and Too Cool were up there as one of my favorite tag teams of the Attitude Era, just because of the confidence and everything. So, send my thoughts and prayers to both families, for both Nikolai's family and Brian Christopher's family, especially Jerry King Lawler. Can only imagine when he's feeling now losing his son. So now, let's move on to Monday Night Raw. We begin with Roman Reigns coming out to the ring. We did see Brock Lesnar backstage, not watching the show, not giving a fuck. This is his character, basically. This is a real life character. He just wants to sit there, get paid, then go home and fuck Sable. Anyway, Roman's like, I see Lesnar's here tonight, but he doesn't want to show up in the ring. He doesn't care about anything. They're trying to play the character that Roman's been trying to play in the feud against Lesnar at Mania, trying to make everyone sympathize with him, saying, oh, I agree with you. Lesnar sucks. Lesnar needs to be dethroned. Anybody but you, Roman. Anyone but you. Quoting the quote from the phrase that was mentioned during the feud between Roman and Bray Wyatt. We would see Paul Heyman come out to address Roman Reigns, saying that, Lesnar's getting ready to defend his title and go on to beat up Daniel Cormier in UFC. And Woman did mention that in an okay little promo here. But Heyman's like, Lesnar will appear in this ring. He's backstage. I mentioned that. But he'll only appear when and if he feels like it. And Woman did not care for that. Saying that, tell Brock one thing. If he decides to show up at SummerSlam, I will send his ass back to UFC. But not as the beach. As the beast. But as my bitch. Bang. That was like his go-to phrase is bitch. He likes calling everybody a bitch. He called Cena a bitch. He called Lesnar a bitch. This is his go-to swear word. Like his go-to name calling. This is go-to, call everybody a bitch. So there you go. Of course, the guy we would love to see challenge Lesnar for the Universal Championship instead of Roman is a man who never got his Universal Championship rematch. Finn Balor. Or even better yet, we would love to have seen him maybe challenge Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship instead of seeing another Rollins match against Dolph Ziggler. But instead, he's stuck in a shitty-ass feud with Constable Corbin. Constable Corbin. After beating Corbin at Extreme Rules, we thought the feud was over, but then he got his little bitty doghouse last week, his toy house, and the match was set for this week. Balor against Corbin. After Balor had a decent match against Drew McIntyre last week, that ended up being a tag match. That Rollins would end up winning that match, getting himself an IC title match. Should have been Balor getting that pin. Okay, little match. There was some interesting little spots in this match. It was basically the beatdown match. Corbin just destroying Balor, especially that clothesline on the apron. Couple nasty clotheslines, but the nastiest one was the clothesline on the apron. And Balor landed hard. So like I said, Corbin used his strength, even delivered a deep 6 at one point. And then Balor came up with his big moves, the big kicks, the flying moves across the ring to the outside. The sling blade, he was attempting numerous times for the coup de grace. It would get countered practically every time from Corbin. So then towards the end of the match, there was a brawl on the outside. And then Balor came in with some big drop kicks, including a big drop kick, shotgun drop kick to Corbin on the barricade. Dragged him back in, setting up the coup de grace, but he missed it. He got caught by Corbin into the end of days in the victory for Constable Corbin. 50-50 booking. We saw the 50-50 booking last week with Reigns getting his heat back after losing to Bobby Lashley in Extreme Rules. And now, once again, 50-50 booking takes hold as Corbin gets his heat back from losing the Balor in Extreme Rules, and he would end up beating up Balor post-match attack, leaving him laying. So, there you go. Dang it. That means we're going to see a woman match. Don't own me at SummerSlam. Because I hear rumors they're going to add something to the Rollins Ziggler match. I'm hoping a triple threat with Balor. Maybe we can have a triple threat with McIntyre, or even Fatal 4-Way. Balor, McIntyre, Ziggler, and Rollins. It would be amazing. But with this setup, this could be setting up a match at SummerSlam, and this feud continue between Balor and Corbin, which we do not want. This is a feud that never ends. It will go on and on like wind. Some people started booking it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue booking it forever just because this is the feud that never ends. We're going on and on, my friends. Damn it. Just like the Roman Lesnar feud. Anyway. So now on to our next scenario, a match. Natalya against Alicia Fox, apparently filling the role of Mickie James this week. Apparently Mickie James is out with some sort of injury, although I tried to look it up before I came on here, and apparently there's nothing about her injury, maybe it's storyline. After what happened last week, but Mickie beat Natalya last week with a little help from Blissy, but at least tonight, Natalya has a little help as Rousey returns from a suspension. She had a week added on to her suspension after attacking Bliss the night after Extreme Rules. But she will get the shot against Bliss at SummerSlam for the Raw Women's Championship. So Bliss and Rousey on the outside. They were the story of the match. It was about Natalya and Fox in the ring. It was an okay little match for what it was. Fox giving us big moves. Natalya trying numerous attempts at the sharpshooter. And then, like I said, the outside interference was a story with Bliss and Rousey both getting involved in the match, and of course being involved in the finish. As Fox was getting into Rousey's face, Rousey came up on the apron, wanting a piece of Fox, but with that, Weapon got distracted, and Alexa took the opportunity to get a cheap shot in on Natty, and Fox would take advantage, delivering a big boot and getting the pin 1, 2, 3 for the second week in a row. Bliss got involved in a Natalya match, even with Rousey's involvement. But Rousey would later have the last word by delivering a big drop onto Alicia Fox post-match. And it would set up something we thought we'd never see. A Rousey match on television. We thought she was going to get the Lesnar treatment. She wanted to earn a shot in wrestling like everybody else, but she only wrestled on pay-per-view. But now, she's finally going to have a singles match on Monday Night Raw next week against Alicia Fox in Jacksonville, Florida. At least we're getting a singles match with Rousey on television. So that's cool. We'll see how that match goes next week in Jacksonville. But a decent little match here. I'm loving Rousey as a WWE girl. She impressed me at Mania. And she did well in the Money Bank match against Jax. But now she's up for SummerSlam. I'm happy she's getting at least a woman match. At least she's getting a match on television. But now we are on to our next segment here with Elias coming out. Once again, promoting his debut album. Did pretty well in the charts. I don't know how. I don't think he was in the top 20, maybe top 50, maybe top 100 on the Billboard charts. But iTunes, he did pretty decently. So he was about to sing a song. He talked about The Rock for a minute. Now, there was a rumor that The Rock was going to have a segment with Elias at WrestleMania this year. This past year, WrestleMania 34. But that never happened. So, and there's been a couple of rumors coming around about The Rock making an appearance in Miami. We all in his hometown after all for Water Night. And also rumors are flying about him being at WrestleMania 35. Wrestling Roman. God. Maybe Rock will win. Then Roman win the second one. Just like what happened with the Rock Cena feud. Rock wins the first match. Cena wins the second one. Hope they don't do that shit again. They want to do that. Elias was teasing The Rock. But just like last week, we were in Dean Ambrose's hometown. We didn't get a Dean Ambrose appearance. He's not back from injury yet still. We didn't get a Rock appearance. We got a Bobby Lashley appearance. He interrupted Elias last week during the numerous gags throughout the evening. That was like the running gag was Elias coming out during 7 moments into the show. Trying to his EP. Not an album, Elias. It's an EP. Admit it. There's only 4 songs on it. 4 songs will make an album. It's an EP. They keep calling it an album. It's an EP. I'm a music guy. I know my music stuff. Anyway. So Bobby would interrupt Elias. Interesting, he came back interrupting Elias the night after Mania. But they didn't have a proper feud. Instead of that shitty feud with Lashley and Zayn. But now they may have finally a Lashley-Elias feud. It was a weird segment here. Lashley wanted to say, Elias, score me a song. I'm a fan. And Elias is like, oh, you want to sing with Elias. You don't just want to walk with me. You want to sing with me. So he started singing Rock and Robin. And Bobby started singing it too. Not the worst singing voice in the world, but that's up there. So I sing Rock and Robin. And he missed the words. It's oh, Rock and Robin really want to walk tonight. He missed that part. And then he got beat up by Lashley with a big boot. But then we later eat a spear from Lashley in a belly to belly. So there you go. The feud between these two. I even heard last week after the loss against the Reigns that they didn't have nothing for Lashley at SummerSlam, which is a shame. But maybe now they may have something for him at SummerSlam against Elias. So we'll see how that goes. Speaking of SummerSlam, we did find out on social media that we're going to see the Cruiserweight title match. We're finally going to see a cruiserweight title match on a pay-per-view again. We haven't seen him on a pay-per-view since WrestleMania. So we Cedric Alexander against Drew Gulak. I'm so looking forward to that match. Being part of the SummerSlam pre-show. Probably likely they did the same fucking thing. Saying, oh, this cruiserweight title match is at WrestleMania. You forgot it's part of the pre-show. You're going to do the same damn thing at SummerSlam. They deserve to be on main show. Especially Gulak's character transformation. I miss the PowerPoint presentations. But I do like the serious Gulak making people tap out. So there you go. Now on to our next affair. Involving Braun Strowman. But first, Kevin Owens, who of course has a match against Braun Strowman at SummerSlam. An interesting scenario. That if Strowman loses in any fashion, doesn't matter if he gets pinned or submitted or counted out or DQ'd, Kevin Owens would win the Money in the Bank briefcase. No matter how Strowman loses. So he's like, you know, Strowman's here, Lesnar's here. I don't want Strowman to cash in Money in the Bank on Lesnar and win me the opportunity of getting that briefcase at SummerSlam. He's trying to tell that story to Constable Corbin. But Corbin's like, he's not my problem, he's your problem. And Angle's problem too. Is Strowman. So then, Kerry Owens trying to take upon himself. As we get to the match involving Braun Strowman and Jinder Mahal. Interesting to see Jinder Mahal finally on television wrestling. We did see him appear on television last week, but it was in a segment getting his ass kicked from Braun Strowman, which we thought we were going to see again tonight. But at least we get to see Jinder on television in a match instead of being a main event. But as he would have come out, because my dad's probably one of the only 5 people who actually like Jinder Mahal, as he was coming out to the ring, I told Dad, Jinder's going down tonight. But the only chance that Jinder has of winning tonight is if Kevin Owens gets involved. And what do you know it? Kevin Owens gets involved. We had a little stare down between these two. Not much grappling until we saw KO sneak out from the crowd, which I knew it. You know what I mean? That was the only chance of Jinder winning. So Strowman got distracted by KO as he took the Money in the Bank briefcase and then being chased down by Strowman. Even tossing, there was a funny spot when Owens was being chased by Strowman. He tossed the briefcase to Sunil Singh and he got his ass kicked, tackled by Strowman, and Owens being chased to the back. And yes, Jinder Mahal actually won by countout. I can't believe I called it. I called it, you know, that Jinder would only win if Kevin Owens got involved. And he did. But I didn't think it was going to be a count-out victory. So, squeezing with kind of a purpose. Keeping up the Strowman-Owens feud. And also proving that if Strowman, this might be, like I said, squeezing with a purpose because it's going to play on the fact that Strowman can lose the Money in the Bank briefcase on any call. If he gets pinned, submitted, DQ will count it out. This proves that, hey, if Strowman loses by count out at SummerSlam, he loses his briefcase. So that's why they did it, to enhance the storyline in the step of the Strowman-Owens match. So that's what they did, screwing with the purpose. Emphasizing the fact that Strowman could lose his briefcase on a count out at SummerSlam to KO. Meanwhile, we had a little backstage segment involving the D-listers of Raw. The Ascension, Zack Ryder, even seeing Mike Canales on television. Nice. As Mojo Rawley has been getting some big TV time lately, destroying people, would confront the locker room saying, it's my time. I'm going to send all you back to the C list and the D list where you belong. Stay on that. And then he confronted Bobby Roode. They've been having a little teasing of their feud last couple of weeks. We didn't see anything last week besides Bobby Roode watching backstage. But we did end up seeing these two get into a backstage brawl in the locker room area. So we are going to get that match between these two. I think they made it for next week. I think they made it for next week. Yeah, they are going to make. Yeah, they did make it for next week. So there you go. At least we're going to finally see this feud come to cooperation. Speaking of feuds, interesting how they're booking this feud. Titus Worldwide against the Authors of Pain. Authors of Pain has been getting one up. We thought the feud was kind of finny. You know, with a couple of squash victories. Okay, but then last week we had a weird segment when Authors of Pain proved they needed Paul Ellering as a manager again. They headed their promos. And they got taken out by Titus Worldwide. after AOP wanted a competition that wasn't titles worldwide. So it's kind of weird the way they're booking this feud out there. Authors of Pain get some big heat, and now the titles worldwide get some heat, especially not only last week but tonight in a singles match as Apollo Crews with Ink on Ink. And of course, Akon came up early with his big power moves. Okay, little matchup here. But then Cruz uses agility and flexibility and speed to try to overcome the power of Akon because of big moves, big splashes. But he didn't. Even did his thing. Moonsault that was pretty, but then near towards the end, as Akon was going for a big move, a big splash in the corner, he would miss it, and Apollo would counter with a pain, with a roll up, and yes, people, Akon would lose his first singles match on Raw. If you haven't seen AOP in singles matches often, and that took him the first loss on the main roster, singles or tags. So there you go. Titles World Kingdom heat up. This should have been like, instead of having AOP win 2 straight squash matches, they had like 1 win and then Titles Worldwide win. So like doing this feud kind of weird. Booking, having AOP get heat for the first 2 weeks, and then in the last 2 weeks, Titles Worldwide's getting a lot of the heat. They're getting most of the momentum, beating him up last week, and then winning the singles match. So, where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go now? Well, on to the only thing I would say was good about this Wall. Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre. We matched a few weeks ago. The Wall before Extreme Rules, Drew McIntyre would end up winning that match against Seth Rollins, enabling himself to remain at ringside during the Iron Man match between Seth and Dolph at Extreme Rules, and Drew would be a factor into that match. Even though he got thrown out of the match, he came back doing Sunday overtime and caused Seth in a weird ending. So, we do have a match with Seth and Ziggler at SummerSlam, and Ziggler looked weird with his hair down. Like, he's got some extensions, dude. Look kind of funky tonight as he accompanied Drew against Seth. Another good match with these two. Some good moments in this match, especially using the bottom of the wing, exposing the bottom of the wing, taking the apron off it, and that would be used in the match twice. That would be slingshotted, float first into the bottom of the wing structure by Drew. That was a nasty spot. And then Rollins gets some revenge by nailing Drew against it shoulder first later on. So tough match, back and forth act from these two guys. Drew came back with his big moves, big kicks. Rollins would come back to the Sling Blade, even attempting the Frog Splash a couple times, and of course teasing the curb stomp, which he eventually would nail towards the finish of the match. He did nail the curb stomp, following a couple flying moves on the outside. And then, like the finish game, he did nail the stomp after countering a electric chair for McIntyre, getting a pin, but only got a 2. And that's when he did the stomp. And he almost got the win there, but then just as he was about to pin Drew, Dolph got involved, beat him down, DQ, screwy ending with a purpose. So, there you go. Beatdown was on, and the beatdown will continue on in an interview segment later on when Seth was being interviewed backstage by Renee Young. Be beaten up again by both Dolph and Drew. So maybe we will get that triple threat. Because I probably Seth's like, I want both. I want Drew legal in the match. If Drew wants to get involved, I want him legal. I want to be both guys at the same time. So that might be the thing. May not add Corbin, but may not be looking like it. I meant Balor, not Corbin. We don't want a 5-way. Corbin and Balor in this match. It's just a 4-way with Balor, but he may have a blow-up match with Corbin settling. So, there you go. And then we had a segment involving Roman Reigns. In Kurt Angle and Constable, not Constantinople, Corbin. As they got a phone call from Stephanie McMahon talking about how, Angle said earlier in the evening, he mentioned this, that Angle said that Lesnar needs to appear tonight in the ring, or Heyman will get fired. And then Stephanie got worried about Roman Reigns getting involved in that segment and protecting her main event. So she made the orders for Angle and Corbin to kick Roman out of the building. And they threw him out with security, but not before Roman would kick out Corbin with a cheap shot. So there you go. We'll see how that main event segment goes with Lesnar, if he does come out or not. But now we're on with an interview segment involving the PG. Being interviewed by Charlie Caruso. Interesting little promo from the B team, but would get interrupted by the leaders of worlds, who say that their great war against the B team is not over by a long shot, especially after that sneak attack post-match after the leaders lost their rematch last week. But it came out, they did not attack them, but they kind of spooked B team after they said, oh, we're not scared of these boys. Especially one of them's my real brother. Because Bo and Bray are real brothers. So the leaders came out with a little promo. And then a Revival, who we've been seeing the last couple weeks, watching the matches, now gets involved. Wanting a piece in the tag title picture. Finally, getting it back in the tag title picture after being misused for the last year. Yeah, some injuries didn't help, especially over last summer, when they were supposed to ironically feud against the Hardy Boys at SummerSlam. Ended up not happening. And ironically, the Hardys would, I think they were in a match against the Mr. Raj and Miz with Jason Jordan. So now it's got a full circle to see like the Hardy get involved with the Mr. Raj, and now the Revival's getting involved too. And we have an impromptu match, Revival against the leaders of hers. B team on commentary, and they were kind of funny. Saying what B team, B stands for anything you want. Because Bo and the promo said B team stands for dream. Dream? It starts with a D. And they kind of clarify and say B team stands for anything. You know, never say die, whatever. Okay, match between the leaders and Revival. Revival definitely carried the match by a long shot for sure. You know, Hardy and Wyatt still haven't found the niche of the team yet. You know, the continuity and stuff. But the Hardy got the isolation early. The tag got in the break, the hot tag, the spider walk, and all that stuff. Try to set up Sister Abigail, but then we get caught with the teaming. Great double team for Dawson Rounds, especially they did nail their big double team finisher onto Bray, the Shadow Machine, in the victory. So at least we see Revival win and try to capitalize on that little momentum they had after defeating Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley twice. They did bring that up in their promo tonight. So there's that. On to our main event match before main event segment. Trying to push the women's pay-per-view down the throats. Not as bad as last week's promotion of it, of the announcement of the Evolution pay-per-view. We have the newly found friendship, again, of Bayley and Sasha, now calling themselves the Boss and Hug Connection, whipping off Rock and Foley. Taking on the Wyatt Squad. Interesting, they had a graphic of the Wyatt Squad with Ruby Wyatt, even though she's not back yet. Hope she's back soon enough for a little injury. So we did see Logan and Liv trying to keep up their momentum because Sarah Logan pinned Ember Moon a few weeks ago. But alas, it would be in this match against Bayley and Sasha, despite their story being up and down a lot. Friends? Not friends. Not friends. Friends again. Like, but they did look good as a team here. Dominating, you know, their big double team. It's kind of like a one-sided match. You know, great double teaming. And I do like the little double team finish with Sasha delivering a bank statement onto Liv. They're being tossed into the Bayley to belly. So, there you go. I won the feud eventually. But the story's kind of weird. You know, like the way the story's gone, you know, are we going to be invested by the time they finally break up for good and not go back to being friends again? Probably saving a big war for Evolution. Or maybe they're setting up their women's tag team division we thought was going to be announced last week. Maybe they still will announce that. And have the tag team tournament for the women at Evolution. And we are going to see the Mae Young Classic final. And I'm happy to see some more names added. Madison Rain's in it. That's cool. She was added today. So was Karen Cute. Interesting they both were working for Ring of Honor. They're in a Ring of Honor match next week on the television show that was taped about a month ago in Fairfax, Virginia, saying they're number one contenders for the Women of Honor Championship. Now they're both in the Mae Young Classic, Madison and Karen Cute. So now on to the main event segment involving trying to get Brock Lesnar to come out and not get Paul Heyman fired. Paul tried everything to try to get Lesnar to come out of his couch, to come out, and Heyman got almost choked out by Lesnar backstage saying, I don't work for you, Paul. You work for me. Now do your job. So Heyman probably knew his fate. Or did he? He came out after Angle and Constable Corbin came out. You know, he was like solemn. He's like, fuck I know Lesnar's not going to come out. He doesn't want to come out, so I'm dead. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. I'm the advocate, talking, low voice, kind of sad, glummy, saying that Brock Lesnar will not come out tonight. And Angle spoke basically the one phrase that everyone can agree with. Brock Lesnar is the worst Universal Champion. He doesn't care about anybody. He doesn't show up at all, which is agreeable. You know what I mean? It was fun at first, and then it got stupid. He doesn't show up a lot. That's why Raw's getting the lowest ratings in its entire 25-year history, with a recent episode going 2.47 views for the first time ever in their history. So, anyway, Brock is not good for ratings. He's not good for anything, which is agreeable. So then, Angle said, no, Brock, you're terminated. And I thought to myself, he's going to say, Heyman, you're fine, and then Brock's music hits. And like the Owens involvement in the Strowman gender match, I call that, and I call this. Bang, here comes Lesnar's music. And Lesnar would come out, and Heyman had a big smile. So, was it real or was it a trap? There was a setup. They were setting up Angle for mutilation. And Lesnar didn't take kindly to Angle's words. He got into Angle's face, even got into Corbin's face. But then they renewed their little rivalry from 15 years ago. It's interesting, in SummerSlam 15 years ago, it was Angle and Lesnar for the WWE Championship. I don't think we're going to see them wrestle each other again, especially after seeing how both of them injured themselves every time they wrestle each other. WrestleMania 19, when Lesnar missed that shooting star press and let it battle his neck. But they kind of revealed a little history, as after the little stare down, Lesnar would snap an F5, the general manager of Raw, as Corbin would stand by shocked and just ran off. And not only did Lesnar not care about the GM, he also didn't care about Heyman. He even almost choked out Heyman at one point, saying, you see that, Paul? You see, Angle, that's going to be Lesnar's opponent. Reigns, that could be you next. So that's how we end Raw, with Lesnar choking out Heyman and laying out Angle, with the fans chanting, we want woman. I thought we were going to see a woman appearance, like he was going to sneak in somehow, but he did not sneak back in. So at least the crowd was at least interested in this. I forgot to mention, during the Revival match against the Leaders of War, so chanting Rusev Day and CM Punk. We're in NXT world, and they were not cheering on Revival. They didn't care a fuck about this match. Third Down kind of dragged a little bit. After the good Rollins and McIntyre match, and you had like this tag match with the Leaders of War and Revival. No one gave a fuck about it. And then you had a women's match. But then you had this main event segment, got the crowd invested, and even chanting for woman at one point. The comment which he did not. We don't know if Lesnar's going to show up again next week, but we're guaranteed in 2 weeks he'll be at the final wall before SummerSlam for sure. In a stare down with woman wearing Syria and maybe a ball. So that's Raw. That's my review. Thank you so much for watching. With that in mind, you've been attacked by the review from Zach. See you later. Bye-bye.